if we're going to what's known as a premillennium view of eschatology, end times, what is the sequence of events? So you have the rapture, followed by the tribulation, followed by
the return of Christ, which would be the premillennial return of Christ. So returns to earth, then establishes the millennial reign. So pre is Jesus returns before that millennium reign, millennial reign.
And then he reigns for 1,000 years.
Which is the word millennium, literally means 1,000 years.
And then following that is what's known as the eternal state.
The eternal state, or the new heavens, new earth, the new Jerusalem. I mean, there's only 2 chapters given to us in Revelation 21 and 22. Yeah. But yes, what the millennium does is it serves as it serves multiple functions, but one is it's a transitory, temporary kingdom, or a period of time, if you will, or even a dispensation, a specific economy that transfers us from this age to the eternal state. But that is the regeneration, the new world, the restoration of the kingdom of Israel. Christ rules the earth from his Davidic throne in Jerusalem for 1,000 years.
Yeah, before a new heaven and a new earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Historically, an older word is chiliasm, because that's the Greek adjective for 1,000. We take millennium from the Latin, which is mille, 1,000 annum years. But historically, it's referred to as chiliasm, and that's from the Greek adjective for 1,000. Millenarianism is another way to be able to describe this idea of a 1,000-year kingdom. And the doctrine just refers to the belief expressed in the book of Revelation that Christ will establish a 1,000-year reign upon the earth before the final judgment of all things pertaining to creation. And he is ruling through his immediate presence, as opposed to ruling through a mediator, like a church or like a pope or something like that. But with him actually ruling, literally, physically, he is the mediating presence. That is a strict millennial view.
Gotcha. And so when we're talking about the premillennial view, then, like you say, he's actually ruling and reigning in Jerusalem on the Davidic
Correct.
throne.
And this would go into what's maybe distinct about a dispensational premillennialism as opposed to other, like what's called historic premillennialism.
What are the
Well,
distinctions?
there's different variations, but both believe in a 1,000-year reign of Christ. A dispensational premillennial view would be a little bit more emphasis on the events, the sequence of events, the rapture, the pre-tribulational rapture happens first. Historic premillennialism generally tends to be post-tribulation, so the church goes through the tribulation, meets the Lord in the air, and immediately comes back. That's more of what's considered a historic premillennial view, but dispensational premillennial view sees the time sequence happening beginning with the rapture. That's what kicks off all the eschatological events to come. Also, a dispensational premillennial view puts a little bit more emphasis on the Davidic reign of Christ. That is the earthly throne of David, going back to 2 Samuel 7 and elsewhere, where there's this expectation of Jesus or David will have posterity, will have someone from his line to sit on the throne in Jerusalem physically. And dispensational premillennialism definitely holds to that, where we would see a distinction. Now, this is not what all dispensationalists believe, because there is some room to maneuver within a progressive view or a traditional view and other views. But a specific traditional dispensational view, which is where I land, would make a distinction between the earthly Davidic throne and the heavenly throne, which Christ is on now, which is his Father's throne in Revelation 3. He's ruling at the right hand of God. Elsewhere in Revelation 3, Jesus says, "Those who conquer, I'll grant to sit on my throne as I've sat on my Father's throne." So he's reigning from heaven over the entire world. That's not the same thing as the earthly Davidic throne. The earthly Davidic throne would be on earth, obviously, and it has to happen physically in accordance with various prophecies going back to the Davidic covenant.
I think we'll get to this later with amillennialism, but yeah, as Cory said, there's different views. Progressive dispensationalism would see the heavenly throne, and the Davidic throne is maybe he's on the Davidic throne now. Amillennialists spiritualize it, but a traditional dispensationalist see that there are 2 thrones, because they're taking a literal, grammatical, historical hermeneutic. So there's the Father's throne, where Jesus is sitting on right now, interceding, and then there's the actual fulfillment of the Davidic covenant, where he will sit physically on David's throne in